Welcome back to Action Figure Obsession here on the Avian and Loaded channel. It's me, your old pal, Avian and Loaded, and this is episode, I think, 113 of Action Figure Obsession. And was watching some old reviews. Every once in a while, I get the urge to go through all the old reviews of at least of figures that I have by some of my favorite action figure reviewers like Anthony's Customs or the late Glenn Webb or Robo Don't Know. I look at his stuff quite a lot. And there's a few others. One of these days I'll make a list and tell you guys about my favorite action figure reviewers. If you like military figures, B's Battlegrounds is a great resource. Bobby B was in the military. He knows his stuff. He lets you know what's real and what's kayfabe and the action figure accessories and all that stuff. And yeah, I really enjoy Bobby B's stuff, especially his reviews of G.I. Joe Classified. Well, speaking of military figures, the three on the left here are AIM soldiers, Advanced Idea Mechanics within the Marvel Universe. And actually, the two on the far left are the AIM Scientist Supreme. I do have one other AIM, traditional AIM Beekeeper helmet guy in my Jack Kirby Thousand Oaks display. I didn't feel like digging him out, so. But basically, what I did here, and I could be wrong, somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think that I read that at one point Hank Pym was the AIM Scientist Supreme. And as is my tradition, I did not go and look that up. I just am telling you what I think I remember reading at one point or hearing at one point. And I watched this morning an Anthony's Customs review of this AIM Scientist Supreme figure, which came in the Marvel Supervillains Bring on the Bad Guys wave a few years ago. I'm trying to think who else was in that wave. Dormammu and the Red Skull and the Hood, and I think I bought that white Doctor Doom, the white costume Doctor Doom that I don't think anybody really liked, but even that one's probably expensive now because it's Doctor Doom. Um, but anyway, yeah, I was watching that Anthony's Customs review of the AIM Scientist Supreme here in the center, and I was remembering or had forgotten just how good a figure it is, and it shares a lot of body parts with some other figures. Most notably that Hydra Supreme, the first one, the Captain America, what was that called? The blue and silver one. I forget. I think the Hydra Supreme Captain America ended up being another release with a different body, but basically at the time I think we were calling it that. It doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, these legs, these arms have been used for a number of figures that blue and silver. I think it was a Gameverse Captain America, and then also the Ghost Rider. What was he called? Cosmic Ghost Rider, who was actually Frank Castle, the Punisher. He didn't look too good on that body. The hips to make room for his cosmic motorcycle that he was riding around on. I didn't like the hips on that figure. It looked really weird. And I was never really happy with it and eventually got rid of it and the motorcycle. Very fickle. That one I don't regret really getting rid of, even though I love the Punisher. That one was just a little too far afield of my interests and what I remember in the comics. But anyway, yeah, I think I remember that Hank Pym, aka Ant-Man, aka Giant Man, aka Yellow Jacket, aka there's got to be a Dr. Pym, of course, when he was in the West Coast Avengers. Hank Pym, I think, was the AIM Scientist Supreme for a while, so he was in charge of all the beekeepers and probably running around in an outfit a lot like this. And when I was watching the Anthony's Customs review, at one point he pulled the helmet off. Sorry about that. My hand slipped. Man, it's still slipping. Stop slipping. He pulled the helmet off, and it looked to me like there was enough of a neck there. See, this helmet is so long that it never occurred to me that you could put a human head on this body. But when Anthony pulled it off in his review, I noticed that it's got a double ball peg neck, and the neck is fairly high. And I thought, gee, I wonder if I could put something resembling a Hank Pym head on it. This is actually that Commander Rogers, that god awful Commander Rogers head, but it doesn't look all that different from the Hank Pym head that came with the Hank Pym and the jumpsuit. Was that in a 2-pack? It might have been in a 2-pack. It was in the 5-pack. It was a West Coast Avengers 5-pack. I've got him over in my West Coast Avengers display, but I don't like pulling figures out of my displays if I don't have to. So I'm just using this head as kind of a fill-in for the Hank Pym head, and I think he has that same sort of, maybe I beat my wife once or twice look of Hank Pym, because of course Hank Pym did famously in that one story. He got a little gappy back neck in the back there, a little lollipop syndrome, as Anthony calls it. Yeah, I mean, I think that you could pull off, at least for figure photography, you could pull off putting some human heads on these AIM Scientist Supreme bodies. I did need to use a microfiber cloth to pull off the helmet because it's very slick and slippery and glossy, and I couldn't really get a good grip on it to pull it off, but when I used my microfiber cloth, it eventually popped off with no problem. We also have one of the AIM soldiers from the AIM 2-pack. He's riding around in the Cobra flight pod, aka the Trouble Bubble, aka the Happy Meal, motor sky cycle, whatever you want to call it. I always loved that the Python Patrol Trouble Bubbles are the McDonald's colors, and I guess the canopy is your McCafe coffee or whatever. But I'm just rambling on this one, folks. It's just rambling, and I'll probably mention that in the title. I was thinking, I mentioned Next Wave Agents of Hate, the comic book, a little in a previous video where I talked about the captain here on the far right. And then I remembered that Monica Rambeau was in that team with him, although this is not the costume that she wore. That costumed Monica Rambeau, she came, I believe, in the A-Force 5-pack, and I did have her at one point, and of course I stupidly, yes, that's correct, got rid of it. I should have kept it. I wouldn't have minded putting a Next Wave collection together, a little display. I do have Machine Man in my Jack Kirby Thousand Oak shelf, so I would say, and plus I have the Dirk Anger, the guy that ran Hate, H-A-T-E. I do have Dirk Anger's head that came with a SHIELD agent body as an alternate head. I have the Dirk Anger head on the Commander Rogers body. So that gives me, I guess, if you think about it, with Machine Man and Dirk Anger, I have 4 members of Next Wave. But of course, you have to have Elsa Bloodstone, who also came, I believe, in the A-Force 5-pack. And that figure really goes for some money. It's not the greatest engineered figure. It's not the most modern figure, but Elsa Bloodstone is a pretty important character in the sort of B-list mythology of Marvel Comics, the supernatural stuff, the Dracula stuff, the Next Wave Agents of Hate stuff. So yeah, so that's why anyway, I just wanted to sort of throw these guys here on camera. And then I thought of something else. Now, in that SHIELD video that I did earlier today, we actually, it was the follow-up to the SHIELD video, a little 5-minute short that I did. I was talking about how I thought that I might leave Dum Dum Dugan on the Happy Hogan body, the black suited body, and I got one comment that noted that because I said he looked like an Undertaker, maybe I should change it back. And then I really had a revelation when I was going through looking for a good Hank Pym head for my Scientist Supreme, because then I remembered and found my other Dum Dum Dugan head sculpt. I don't know if you recall, but I said that I bought 2 of those SHIELD 3-packs. So now I can have my working with SHIELD Dum Dum Dugan, and maybe a Friday night out on the town, Dum Dum Dugan, and he inherited Happy's cell phone. I'm not sure how long he's going to keep that. And then what I could really do if I wanted to get fancy, so here's Nick Fury and Dum Dum Dugan, and here's Dum Dum Dugan and Nick Fury. So one of the great things about kit bashing and also about recklessly spending all your disposable income on little 6-inch plastic people is that you end up with some options. So, do you want to do this in your action figure photography with the black suit Dum Dum Dugan and the super spy Colonel Nick Fury, or do you want to do the pinstripe suit and the sort of mercenary kind of looking Nick Fury from the Gamerverse Punisher Nick Fury 2-pack, which I do absolutely love. This Nick Fury, I kind of hate that he has that hole in his mouth for the cigar, and I don't have a cigar, but I did have a lot of cigarettes from my Mezco John Constantine, and I made sure that I knew where those were because this is one of the tiniest, maybe the tiniest accessory in my entire collection. There's a little tiny cigarette with this little tiny puff of smoke on it, and uh, and it falls out super easy. The depth of that hole for the cigarette or cigar is not very deep, so I made sure that I know where my extras are because sooner or later, I'm sure that cigarette is going to get eaten up by the carpet. And it's so funny, things that are by their very nature dangerous and sometimes unpleasant. Cigarettes and guns. I don't have them in my house. I don't want anybody bringing their cigarettes in my house. I don't want anybody bringing their guns in my house. That is a Valaverse pistol with an extended magazine and a suppressor on it. It is definitely made for wet work. I welcome guns and cigarettes and cigars in my house as long as they are meant for little tiny 6-inch plastic people. That's just how I roll, and that's just how it is. And this is the gang on the table here that we've been talking about. My Nick Fury and Dum Dum Dugan, the mercenary pair, and Nick Fury and Dum Dum Dugan, the super spy pair, I guess. Dum Dum does kind of look like a character out of The Prisoner or Secret Agent Man. The song was Secret Agent Man. This show was Secret Agent, right? With Patrick McGowan. What I wouldn't give for a Patrick McGowan action figure, either as John Drake or The Prisoner or both. I would easily give you a toe for action figures of those two Patrick McGowan characters. But anyway, so there's my next wave, folks. There's my AIM, folks, including Henry Pym with his helmet off. And here's my Nick Fury and my Dum Dum Dugan and my Dum Dum Dugan and my Nick Fury. And here's the Shriners Convention. They're all milling around on the floor talking about where are we going for dinner tonight and which casino has the easy games and the highest winnings. And oh my goodness, don't we just love the Shriners Convention? It's so much fun. Why are these giant statues back here? Does anyone know why they would do that at the Shriners Convention? No, nobody knows. All right, I took Darwin off of there, by the way, because he took a header and landed in the crowd and knocked everybody over. So where's Darwin now? Oh, there he is, right there. No chair for you, Darwin. I can't trust you. He is very slippery. He's a very slippery character. Yeah. So as we pull back for the full view of the clusterfuck that is my life, the full view of the work table in the photo area and the Shriners Hall. I think that's going to do it for this 113th episode of Action Figure Obsession here on the Aviating and Loaded channel. If you are enjoying my stuff, if you like seeing all these toys, if these kit bashes give you any ideas about what to do with your collection, or whether to decide if you should be collecting the Tracksuit Mafia, or the Egghead Mafia, or the Gray Agency Mafia, or, maybe some Doctor Doom from the Super Skrull Build-A-Figure wave. Yeah, remember I kicked him out of my Jack Kirby display because I put my statue in there. And now I'm wondering, what do I do with Doom? And Doom is like, you better decide soon. Yes. All right. Thanks for joining me for this Action Figure Obsession. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're informed about future editions of this nonsense. And I will see you on the next one.